Hello and welcome to EGW Writings Tech Tips. I'm your host, Darryl Thompson. Thank you for joining us today in another of our series on learning how to use the egwwritings.org new website. Now today what we're going to do is take a look at the tree. Now some of you may call this the table of contents, others may call it the library tree or the library contents, but I just call it the tree. So if you hear me referring to a tree, then you know what I'm speaking about. Now the tree that we have in the egwwritings.org website has many functions. It has three forms of the tree, and I'll get into explaining those three forms soon. And it also then has 3 to 4 functions, which I'll also get into and show you how that works as well. But for now, let's dive right in, and I'm going to demonstrate to you the egwwritings.org tree. The tree is located here on the left-hand side. If it's hidden like this and you come into the main menu, then this little icon here that looks like a manila folder, when you click on it, it will open up and it will show you then the tree. Now what we have is the tree is sorted by languages. Now we do put your default language at the top, and your browser will automatically sniff out what language that your computer is set to, the default language on the computer, and it will here put that language at the top of the tree. It will also change the menu that you can see over here in the menu language, which for us is in English. Now you can see that we have in the tree all the languages, and there are 137 languages that we have on egwwritings.org. Let's scroll to the top. You'll notice at the top of the tree that we have here a little tiny search box. And it has inside of that box title search. Now, if I put inside here a book title, like education, and hit the enter key or click on search, it will find for me the match that matches with that title, and it will open up the book, education. But there's an added benefit. It also finds 14, and you can see by the little number here, and you'll see this later on our related searches. Whenever you see a little tiny number like this, with a circle like this with a number inside, that designates the total for that category. And we have 14 titles that in EGW Writings have education in the title, as part of the title. The top perfect match shows at the top, which is the book education. And you can click on it, and it will then open the book up. And when you open it up, it will actually drop down in the tree here to like the table of contents as it was under education. So you can see the foreword and then the first principles. And if I expand the first principles here, it will then show the chapters. So this is the sections of the book. This is the chapters within that section. Now, if I want to do a search and use my tree to do a custom filtering, then these little checkboxes in front of the title of the books are very useful. So let's say that I'm searching for God, and the default search filter is going to look just in EGW collections. You can see that I have over 100,000 results, so it says 999,000 plus for the word God. But if I put a check mark, let's say down here on Counsels on Health, then it's going to filter out to only the book Counsels on Health. And I see 918 results. Now, let's say, for example, I want to add in Christian Service. I put a filter in there. It increases up to 1,506 because now it has added Christian Service into my search filter. And I can go through and click on the exact books that I want to search through in the tree, and it will automatically filter out and update my search results to reflect the books in which I am searching in. So that's where the tree can become very helpful. So that's basically using the tree to filter. Now, of course, you can just double click on the heading here and it will open the book. Or I can come down and say, I want Christ our Savior. I double click there, opens the book. Maybe I want to go to early writings. I can use it to open the book. So I can actually open a book directly from the tree. And I can click on read. Now, if I want to add a book in a split, I can actually come up here and say, okay, I've got early writings. Maybe I want to add in confrontation. I can long click here, just drag it over the screen and drop, and now I open a split. So you see how I did that? I can add up to 8 splits. I can choose another book, like Acts of the Apostles. I long click, I wait for it to pop up. As soon as it pops up, I long click and drop from the tree, and I've added a book in to my splits. I now have a 3-way split. Okay, so you can use the tree to do that. So we're opening up Christ object lessons here. Let's say I want to bring in, like I showed you a second ago, a split. Now, if I want to come down and bring in Desire of Ages, I showed you how you can long click here for a couple of seconds and then drag in, and you can get a split window. But I can also come over here and say I want to bring up confrontation. I can right click and then see how it brings up the option. I can learn about the book. I can open in the same window or in all of the active splits. In other words, Desire Age is the active split, or open in a split, or open in a new browser tab. So they're the different functions. If I want to open in a split, so a 3-way split, I would click on open in split and see how it brings in there. If I come over here and I go right click and say open in active split, it will replace the book that I'm actively split in, which is the confrontation, with the new book that I select. So see how I can replace the active window. So if I want to come up here and do a call to stand apart and replace a call to stand apart over Christ object lessons, then I need to select Christ object lessons as the active window. And then I can come up here and right click and go open in active split, and now a call to stand apart opens in that window. Okay, so they're my options. I can drag and drop or right click and choose how I want it. If I just want it in the same window, I click it there and it gives me the full screen and goes out of the split. So you've probably noticed in EGW Writings that when you click on a Bible text, that it opens in a split window. So like I'll jump into chapter 2 of Acts of the Apostles here. And you'll notice that if a Bible text, if I click on it, it's going to open up in a split window. And if I click on this little tiny international language symbol for translation, and I say select Bulgarian, it would open up a 3rd split window. Maybe I want to open up more splits. Well, in EGW Writings, you can actually open up to 8 split windows. So let's go down and I'll show you. So we've got 4, there's 5, 6, you've got to click on open in split. Now, if you click on open in active split, like I showed you before, it replaces the active window. Okay, we got 6, 7, and let's go down to another book and open in split. So I've got 8 active windows open. And you can arrange these by clicking on the layout icon up here, and you can arrange them. Now, if I've got, say, I close down to 7, then it gives me more options. See how I can do and choose different layouts. And if I go down to 6 active windows, it gives me vertical or horizontal layout that I can choose. Okay, so you can choose that through the way you lay out your windows. So in EGW Writings, you can open up, just remember, 8 active windows. And if you want these windows to maximize, you just click the maximize button, click the minimize button. If you want to close, you can close. And if you want to, say I want the King James to be down the bottom where the health food ministry is, you just click in the tab there, drag it down to here, and it moves around. So you can just move around those active windows and you can have open up to 8 active splits. This screen's a little small, makes it a little difficult. So, 6 may be easier to manage, or even 4 may be easier to manage, and then having like 8 open. But on larger screens, it does work. And you can organize these around. I just say long clicking, take the KGV over to there, and then it's open. Now you can use the tree to also filter not just by language and titles like we did, but we have a three-way section split of the tree. Notice this little tiny icon up here that looks like a globe, right there. If it looks like a globe at the start, that listing means that the tree is used in a language list. So you see all the languages listed. Okay, let me click it here. Okay, see how we got all the languages? Now if I click this icon here, it changes from language to category filtering. And what it does is it lists in this category what books belong to that category of Christian lifestyle. I can also click on it here and open up those books in Christian lifestyle. Now you see it comes from all languages. When you logged in, as I've mentioned in a previous tutorial, it can automatically filter to the languages that I add to my default languages. And if I'm just in English, then I can just add English. Now I can come here and filter by placing a little check mark here into English, click on the little filter cone icon, and then choose my language. And I can filter out just to the English books within that category. Now there is another section here, if I click on here, and that is titles, and it shows the international language symbol. And if I open up books, what it does is it lists all of Ellen G. White's writings right here, all her book titles. And if I select any one of these titles, it will list all the languages that are available on our website in that book under that book title. So say I click the Adventist Home. There's all the languages in Adventist Home. And if I want to know what this language is, I can look in the tree and I can see I'm going to have English and Bulgarian and Chinese and Spanish and Finnish, French, and etc. Now, if I want to look at another book, I can come down. I can either go backtrack, or I can come down and click on and say, oh, Ministry of Healing. Okay, and this is title search. Now you can use the quick sort, and I could come here and just click on the T, and it would show me just the books that are under T. And, you know, that's pretty much how I can quickly sort using the tree to be able to show up in my bookshelf what books I want to filter to. Maybe it's Christ Object Lessons. I want to see all the titles that Christ Object Lessons are available in. And over here, I can read off all my languages. So that's that function of the tree. And then don't forget, like I showed you in the beginning, the first function was to search for book titles. You know, like education, as I said before, we had 12. If I come back, I need to come back and go back into them in the sort. Otherwise, I'm just actually sorting in the title search. So let me switch back into language. And then we got education, so we got 14. Maybe it's councils that I'm going to search for. And you can see I have 15 books with councils in the title. So that's the use there. And I say it's councils of the church. I open it up. So hopefully I've gone through and explained all the basic major functions. There's one thing that I like to do, and you can see when I open up the book, it has the table of contents of all the chapters listed for council of the church here. But when I click on read, that disappears. But when I actually click in here, notice how it automatically jumped down to the book, and it can track through the book where I am currently located. So as soon as I click here, okay, as I track through the book and I load the pages, it will track through the chapters. So if I come over here and I go to chapter 1, for example, and if I scroll through here, it will actually move down the tree as I track down, and it will find and track with me as I go. So see how we're now into chapter 2. Okay, and it will track as I go down through the book. See, I'm up to chapter 5. See how it jumps down, and it keeps track. Now I can always use the tree to jump around in the table of contents in the book. That's always open if I have my tree open at the top. Now if you have your tree closed, you can open it back up, or this little icon here also shows me my table of contents within the book. Okay, I believe I have shown you all of the functions that we have here in the tree. If these little titles are expanded get in the way, you can collapse it You can expand it by clicking on it. If you want to see all of them, you can click on See More, and then you can see all the titles. And if it gets in the way, you just click at the top here, it collapses, and we're back to just showing the tree again. Okay, I think we've gone through all the functions and features that are included in the egwwritings.org tree. There's a lot, and you may have to review back through some of the features that I've just reviewed through for you, but spend a little bit of time within the egwwritings.org app and you will get to learn to love the functionality of the tree. Thank you for joining us now. Enjoy EGW Writings as much as I do, and remain blessed by walking and talking with God daily. Bye for now.